Willkommen zurück auf Einfach Storage, dem IBM Storage YouTube-Kanal. Wir haben heute wieder Sam Werner bei uns. So welcome back, Sam. It's I think your second or third time on our channel. And you were the keynote speaker here at the IBM Storage Strategy Days. And alongside the very exciting announcement of the new DS8000 10th generation, you were talking a lot about that we are at the edge of something new with regards to how customers basically were sourcing storage in the past and what we see as the future. So maybe you want to give us your view on that and what you meant with that.
Sure, yeah, and thank you for having me back. I love Storage Strategy Days in Germany. It's one of my favorite events, and so I'm really excited to be here. I've been reflecting back on my career in storage, and when you think about it, over the past 20 plus years, the way that we manage primary storage really hasn't changed. There's been evolutionary changes to it, but nothing fundamentally has changed when you think about what it takes to deploy a new application on primary storage. You have to understand the dynamics of the application, its performance requirements. You have to understand how to interact with other applications on an array where you're going to deploy it. You have to understand the capacity growth and maybe the growth of transactions over time and how that will affect the way it performs. And over time, you may find the way that different applications have changed and grown on an array requires you to move stuff around. And that becomes a little bit more of an art probably than a science, figuring out this application I should move over to this array. And on top of that, when you do it, usually it's disruptive to the host. If you want to move it from one block storage array to another, it requires host reboots, it requires some time of moving data, which can be tricky, especially depending on the amount of transactions on it. So it's really like, none of that has changed, and then on top of it, your hardware ultimately ages out. You're going to have to replace it eventually. Especially when you're talking about storage, media wears out, and so over time you're going to have to replace it. And when that time comes, now you have to move a whole bunch of workloads to a new system. But to even get there, you have to go through a long, complex procurement process, which takes a lot of people, a lot of time, a lot of effort. You have to validate different vendor solutions, look at new technologies, and ensure you're making the best investment. Then you finally make that decision, you bring in the new array, you have to have dual maintenance for a while. So you have time to move your data over to your new array. Now, yes, there have been changes and improvements in primary storage over the years, but the fundamental pieces I just spoke about are still the same.
Yeah, I mean, what you're describing is the norm, but the way you're describing it, now it feels a bit odd. So what would be an option, right?
Yeah, I mean, so what we're doing is we are making huge leaps forward in how we manage it within our primary storage arrays, starting with our flash system family. And what we've done, by the way, one of the great things about flash system is it's just one software across the entire family. So we only have one set of products there, right? So same exact software. So you can mix and match a 5,000 line with the 9,000, which is our highest end, starting with very entry all the way up to 9,000. So it's one set of software. Now imagine if you could take all of those different arrays together and manage them as a pool of resources. And when you think about your applications that you're building, you develop partitions. So an application gets represented in a partition that goes across that pool. That partition defines high availability requirements, disaster recovery environments, snapshots, and safeguarded copies to protect you from cyber attacks. All of those different types of things, the performance, dynamics, everything is captured within this partition. And this partition now can move seamlessly across this pool of entry, mid-range, high-end storage products to help you achieve different performance and availability that is necessary for a particular application. And then we have intelligence and AI within these systems that help you with placement. And we'll ultimately get to the point where we can actually do automated placement for you and automated rebalancing of these workloads by moving partitions around. So it's a very unique way of dealing with it. You get the benefit of having one big array, which you wouldn't want to do because the failure domain is too large.
If one fails, right?
Right. So you get that same simplicity if I just put it on the array and go, but I get much smaller failure domains and the ability to optimize cost and performance based on different workloads. So I can have different types of arrays for different things. And then we mix in with that our storage assurance, which allows you to make a longer term purchase where we guarantee that the product won't go end of life. If it does, we replace it, and we guarantee that we'll bring in new technology as it's available, and we guarantee that you'll meet your SLAs. So we come in and do the upgrade, you never have overlapping maintenance, and because of the way FlashGrid works, it's super easy. You bring in the new array, the partitions move on to the new one, hosts don't know, applications don't know, nobody cares. We wheel out the old one and you're on your new technology ready to go. We replace everything all the way up to the media so you get the best of all the new technology.
That's cool. So storage assurance is changing the paradigm in terms of sourcing infrastructure. Yes. And the grid is basically changing the way we're handling with the partitions and the ability to move them around.
Yeah, and they go hand in glove together, right?
Yeah. So when do you see that basically being widely spread in the IBM storage community?
I mean, so the stuff is available now, and we have really strong interest in it, and our customers are already starting to adopt this new technology, and we're continuing to look at new requirements and how we bring them even farther forward in terms of leveraging AI to make some of these decisions for them. Take away that art that goes with it today, the having to have a storage administrator that's got just leveraging their 25 years of experience to figure out where to place it, I just know, and moving more towards a scientific approach.
That's very exciting. So I'm curious what we will see then when you're here next time for the next strategy days. So Sam, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for the thoughts and your insights, and vielen Dank für Ihr Interesse für das Video auf Einfach Storage, und bis bald.